On the road again. Here we are
Just can't wait to get on the road again.
with J&T Marital Arts Podcast. Living life the way we love it. Yeah. We can't wait to get on the road again. Heading home again.
Woo! Keychain. Nice job.
Ah! Oh, I'm recording.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I actually got, okay. I got you singing too.
Yep. Well, at least it wasn't a happy birthday because for some reason, over even 20 years. No, you start too high. Yeah, the first one.
Happy birthday to whoever.
Yes. That's better. Okay,
That big camper just passed us. What the heck?
Oh, they're in a diesel.
They're hauling. I'm going 75.
Well,
speed limit 75 too. We're probably going 85.
That camper looks like it has a few miles on it, so they may be accustomed to booking it.
Yeah, they're booking it. All right, well, we're heading home. So this is the J&T Marital Arts Podcast, how to get home. How to get home safely, how to get home after vacation, after having so much fun, how to be happy about going home.
Well, I think there are always a couple of things to for sure be happy about.
Yeah.
First of all, our kitties.
Meow.
Yes, our kitties.
Meow, meow, meow.
Maybe we should share a picture of them. Your kitty is especially photogenic.
Oh, my kitty's like totally sexy.
She's amazing.
She's got the mane. She's got the boa tail. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she knows it. She knows she looks good.
Yes, she does. But she's super, super sweet.
And she puts a lot of work into looking good too.
She does.
Just like every beautiful woman out there.
Yep.
Put a lot of work into it.
And she knows it.
Yeah. Yeah, she's not afraid to fly it, that's for sure. Comes by and wags her tail.
And she loves, that's a dog.
No,
she loves.
Okay, she waves her tail.
She waves her tail, yes. She loves guys. I mean, she's more into guys. Like if we have visitors, she'll go up to the guys, and the women, she's kind of like,
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. My kitty, should we shout out to Starry?
Oh, shout out Starry. Well, we didn't shout out Maggie, did we?
Well, this is
Maggie Majesty Sapphire. Maggie for short.
Starry, well, your kitty, long-haired tortie.
Yeah.
So like black and tan, perfect, like a black and tan.
Black and tan. Little racing stripe on her nose.
Okay, since we're going in that direction,
she looks like a miniature Maine Coon.
That's how I knew that she was right for you.
Oh,
so
geez.
Let's get into that story.
All right, go ahead.
Before we get into our trip review, which we're going to do a trip review. So you've always had very majestic, well, first of all, majestically named cats. The first cat, when I met you, which is one of the reasons I was like, okay, this guy is checking. I didn't even have a list, but
I was checking boxes.
You were checking boxes. I'm like,
woo!
He's a cat. So she was a white, just the beautiful, regal, all white, short hair,
she looked
yellow
like
eyes.
an ancient Egyptian cat.
And her name was Alexis Queen Sheba.
Alex for short.
Alex. And she didn't like anybody except for you.
Yep.
And when we first met, she was at your martial arts studio.
Yep.
Because you couldn't have her at your apartment.
Right.
And so you kept her at the school. And, people are like, oh, what a beautiful cat. And they'd go out to pet her, and she had no claws. But
not on her front paws.
Not on her front paws, but she would bat at you. Like it would look like you could pet her, and then all of a sudden, whack.
Yeah.
And
well, she'd be sitting there all poised.
Very poised.
And she'd see somebody come in. She wouldn't move. She'd just look. And then she'd stare at them. And then a lot of people would say, oh my goodness, I thought she was a statue.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, why would I have a statue of a cat in a martial arts studio? I mean, first of all, why do you have a cat in a martial arts studio?
Yeah.
Because we were learning.
Cats, that's why.
Yeah, we were learning the art of Alex Kwando.
Well, cats are amazing. They are a subject to study.
Downshift for the uphill.
I thought it was downhill all the way home.
Yeah, pretty much, but.
So, while you were gone in a training for a month, I looked after her for water, cat box, attention, and they kind of bonded during that time.
Yeah.
And by the time we got married, and she died maybe like 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah.
By the end, though, when I would read, she would lay on my tummy or my chest.
Well, you'd lay in bed reading. You have to give the whole description.
Yes. So I'd be laying in bed reading, and she would come up and lay on my tummy or my chest, and so a huge turnaround from don't touch this to yes.
Yeah, so she had MC Hammer vibes. She's like, can't touch this. Do, whack, whack, do.
Totally. Then there's Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile.
Cleo for short.
When we got Starry, so we lived in Menominee, Wisconsin, or by Menominee, Wisconsin. We got both Cleo and Starry at the same time shortly after Alex passed, and we went to the Humane Society of Menominee. Just a small trailer home, stacked literally with cages of cats. Not saying that they were doing anything wrong, it's just like that was how many, were needed.
They were in 3x3 cages or 2.5x2.5 cages.
So John picked Cleo, beautiful Maine Coon.
Cleo picked me.
Yeah, she did.
She grabbed my hat.
She reached out from the cage and nabbed your hat.
Yeah.
And I chose Starry from, I was just looking around and she seemed interested. I held a couple, but she snuggled.
Yeah.
And she hugged. Yeah. And that's what I really loved. And she's a black cat, and I didn't know that a lot of black cats are not adopted because of the stigma. So I'm extra glad I chose her.
She's brought you nothing but good luck.
Yes. She does cross my path, though, and other people's path, like, all the time. So that is true. That a black cat will cross your path.
It's very true for Starry.
At least for Starry.
She likes to get a good whop in the belly every now and then. She'll step right in front of you. Like, oh, you going this way? Here, let me jump. Let me jump right in front of you. All right.
Okay.
Well, Cleo and Starry didn't get along until they both went in to get fixed.
Yeah.
And we brought them in at the same time. And they put them in the same cage after their surgery, and they cared for each other.
Yep. Do you have pictures of them?
So they went through
each other.
They went through some shared adversity.
Yep.
And they became besties.
They did.
Yeah.
And so that was nice. As you may gather, Cleo passed away a couple of years, a year or two later.
Yeah.
It was really sad. She had a strange blood disease.
Yeah. After a couple transfusions and a couple treatments,
and at least a couple grand.
She wasn't getting any better.
Yeah. So you didn't want a cat right away, but
I didn't want a pet right away because, you get attached to your pets because they spend a lot of time with you when you're at home, and Cleo was just a lover. She was totally.
Oh, speaking of markings, she had like a heart on her forehead.
Yeah.
She was super, super sweet.
Yeah, she might have been carrying Alex's soul with her.
So then I felt like you did need a cat. Like any good wife, you do need. And you're like, no. And then I was looking online, and someone was supposed to bring by. I thought it was kind of odd, but by that time I learned that people will foster animals, and you stop by a person's house, or apparently they might bring it by. That I'm still not sure about, but she was supposed to bring a kitten by, and they didn't show up. And I had another appointment for us to go see who now is Maggie in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And so the lady with the kitten didn't show up. I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. Maybe we're supposed to go see this one. So Maggie's photo really stood out to me. So it's kind of, I don't know, is it like dating online? We never did that, but so I saw her picture.
Yeah, thankfully we got together before smartphones.
Yeah. I wish I still had her profile picture.
Yeah.
Because she's just like this. She's a big kitten. That stage. So we never had her as a kitten.
Yeah, she was like a teenager.
Yeah, and she's just skinny, fluffy, but she kind of had just like this spunk to her, and I could seen the picture, and then I also saw in the picture that she had this stripe down her nose, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a racing stripe. And that's so John, former racer at heart. And so we went to visit her, and there were several other animals there. The lady who was fostering was just finishing up law school and was actually going to move again. And so there are a couple dogs, a couple of cats, and we get there, and it's like they just all knew.
You imagine somebody in law school and they've got like six animals in their house that they're fostering?
There were at least 4.
I bet you that lady's a fabulous attorney because she was like busy.
Yeah.
Well, 4. I mean, even 4. You're in law school, you got 4 animals?
Yeah.
4 or 5?
It's probably a good balance too, though. You know, like, okay, I've got to walk the dogs, you know, take a break from the books.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, but so we got there, and they just seemed to know that we were there for Maggie. You know, you could make a cartoon of this. We get there.
No, let me tell this.
Go for it. Yeah, you're a better storyteller. I'm working on it.
No, I'm not that I'm a better storyteller, but it was just so amazing.
So surreal.
We walk in the room, and the gal let us in. We walk into her apartment, and and she was fostering all these animals in an apartment, in a small apartment.
Yeah.
So we go in there, and all the animals are in the main room. There had to be 5.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. And she's standing there when I walked in, and I kid you not, I swear on my nuts. Every animal left the room of their own accord, and Maggie was sitting in the middle of the room. Yeah. Like a movie, like it was set up.
It's Maggie's time.
This is Maggie's people are here. And then the gal went and sat on a couch or a chair or whatever, and then I got down on the floor, and you sat on a chair or something, and she come right over to me, and I petted her, you petted her, and we were just kind of
hanging out,
getting to know each other a little bit, and she was just rubbing on me and moving around, and I don't remember if she was doing her but she probably was. Maybe she got that from me. I don't know. She has this characteristic where she doesn't meow a lot. She makes like noises like yeah, kind of like humming / hum moan noises. Yeah. And she meows more now in her older age, but yeah. And I said, all right, and you were like, yeah, this is your cat. And then you and the gal were talking, oh, it's so cute, You're all both of you were googly over a guy that likes a cat. Yeah. And so you ran down to get the cat carrier, and you brought it up, and you came in, and she was in my lap and on the floor, and I was picking her up a little bit, and she was real scrawny, like a little malnourished. And you set the cat carrier on the floor, opened it up, and kind of fluffed the blanket or whatever is in there, the towel. And then you went and sat down, and Maggie looks at it, turns around and walks right in it, turns around and sits down with her paws out front, laying how cats kind of lay down, but their paws are all underneath them, facing out the door. And the gal that was the foster mom was like, I cannot believe it. And we were both like, what?
Yeah.
She's like, that cat has never been to the vet because I can't get her in a carrier. I've never been able to get her in a carrier. And she just went, that is your cat. She just starts freaking out. That is your cat. She knows she wants to go home with you. And we're just like, well, that's amazing.
Well, first of all, to have any cat just go into a carrier is like a miracle in and of itself without you like shoving it in there.
Right. They don't, if they go in there of their own accord, they maybe they wanted to lay in a smaller spot, like if you have a carrier out on a regular basis. But even if we got to go to the vet, I just pull the carrier out, I put it down, I say, Maggie, get in the carrier, and eventually she'll walk right in and lay down, and we shut it up, and then we fight to get Starry in the carrier.
Yeah. But then she came out, because I had to write the check still, and we were kind of chatting, and she came out, And then you're like, okay, it's time to go home. And she literally walked back in. And just like, again, it's just like incredible.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I really, all my animals have had a character or personality that is very discernible and distinguishable, and other people notice, right? It's not like just the dog that licks you. Oh, he likes you. He's licking you. Well, he likes his ass. He licks his ass too. It's a very discernible character. Like Star, he likes to fetch.
Yeah,
and
she
it's
had
like
to have been a lab in a previous life or something.
she's a retriever.
Yeah, she retrieves.
Yeah,
And she
totally.
catches flies too. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And she's been a big girl most of her life, and she can still catch flies.
Oh, she's fast. She's a hunter.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, she's more slight now, but she had a belly for quite a while.
Yeah.
She was gluten intolerant.
That's something. So yeah, just.
So we packed her up and we left, and that gal was like, "You got to be kidding me."
Yeah.
She's like, "I've never seen anything like this." And I'm like, "Well, yep, I'll take her."
Yep.
You wrote out the check.
It's absolutely meant to be.
$1 million.
It's worth it. Totally worth it. But she's been your sweetie ever since. Like total peas in a pod.
Well, the funny thing is we have two cats, and they sleep on our sides of the bed. So like even if we switch sides of the bed, they'll switch. And they come to each of us separately. You're home most of the time during the day, so obviously Maggie is very happy to have you around because you feed her and all that kind of stuff. But
they like each of us.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a preference and knowing of kind of who's.
Yeah, very apparent.
Yeah.
So that's our cats. So yeah, we're on our way home. We haven't seen our cats in 6 days, 7 days.
Oh, it's been
7, 8. No, well, we left on Thursday last week.
We left on Thursday and we're going back on Saturday. So what's that?
9.
9?
No, 8.
Something
Thursday, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it'll be, we'll see him today, so it'll be almost 9.
Yep.
Can you do math? I can't do math. That's a nice little sprinter. The whole side popped out.
So, but your parents are taking care of them, which is really terrific. Couldn't ask for better. They get a couple visits a day. And oven and all that stuff. So, and then our bed. We don't need to describe and go into a story about our bed, but
I don't know what you're talking about.
other things that we miss about home.
Oh, we miss our bed?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
I think we broke in the camper bed a little
Well, we
bit.
can talk about, we have a natural rubber bed.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. It's we've had it now for what? Probably 7, 8 years.
Oh.
We had it before Chanhassen, or before Minnetrista.
We lived at the lake. We got it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's been at least 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I think we need to replace it.
I think my Minnesota accent comes out here.
It's coming back.
Yeah, we've had it at least 10 years. I mean, they're supposed to last like a lifetime, but we've put on a couple different toppers because they're.
I thought you were going to say we put on a few miles.
I almost waved at that cow in the trailer. He was sticking his nose out, and I felt like waving. I didn't, but I felt like waving.
You're such a friendly traveler.
Oh,
Tara, the friendly traveler. Hi, cow. Well, we were talking to the cows every day when we'd go for a walk by our campsite.
And I'm like,
what?
John, there's a bull in with those cows and babies. Like, he might be wanting to protect all of his.
And I'm like, bull.
Yeah. And you're like, there's a fence there. I'm like, I have a feeling that.
Oh, he could go through the fence if he wanted, but why? Why would you want to?
I don't know. Maybe if you said something mean to him and bullish.
No, they. What did he say mean?
I don't know.
Hey, bull.
Do you really know how to speak?
You got tiny balls.
You did get, so maybe that would work.
That might.
So.
Well, they're around people all the time.
Okay.
You got to remember that. They're not like buffalo, and even the buffalo in the park, they're around people all the time, too.
Yeah, you got that buffalo to turn around.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yes. So he's showing us his rear.
Well, that's on the last podcast.
Oh, did
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
It's going to be loud.
Oh, good.
I started hooting and hollering at the buffalo because he had his butt to us, and I wanted to get a picture of him, a good picture. It was the only male buffalo we saw in the park, and so I'm making all my calls, my buffalo calls, and all the things that I could think of, and he literally looked. He was facing totally away from us. He turned to his left and he looked, and then I'm like, "Come on, I want to get a picture," and he turned sideways, and he posed for what, 3-4 minutes.
Yeah.
Just stood there.
Drove away.
Didn't even bend his head down to eat more grass because that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
That was so silly. I'm like, am I really communicating with the animals here?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you were. You have been.
That was hilarious.
There's another campground right along the highway.
Then he made that classic buffalo pose.
Oh yeah.
It was really good. It was
Yeah.
very picturesque. Standing in a grove of trees with long grass and a hill in the background, the hill going up in the back. Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. I'll have to look at it on the computer and see how good the picture is. Could probably sell that one. That's a little Airstream.
Huh.
Jinx Binks.
It's like really short.
It's strange.
The door's on the back.
They got an outdoor on the back and they got pop-outs on the front. We were just talking the other day about if Airstream has pop-outs.
That one's like half the size of ours.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know, we were pretty, like ours is, I think, perfect for us, our camper. The Keystone Mini.
Yeah.
Springdale Keystone Mini. Has lots of counter space. Like there are campers 3 times the size that don't have that counter space. So I think it was just right for us. We still had a lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
Although we didn't really try really hard to put stuff away. But it was full of stuff.
Well,
So
that's
I was
okay.
just saying, I can imagine a tiny one like that.
We're out cook-lamping.
So, how about the trip in review?
Trip in review.
So, I wrote down a few questions that maybe we could start, for our trips.
Well, one thing I'll say is we brought our mountain bikes and we hardly biked at all. And I was like, man, we're going to bike. I'm going to bike every day. I'm going to bike all day. And it was like, nah, I'm just going to relax.
Well, the first couple of days we were both, I was like,
we were kind of shocked.
I was so, really, I've never needed a vacation more. And this was technically time off because we're still working on stuff. We're just working at a different location.
Yeah.
But it's amazing when you're away from home how you can prioritize things differently. And so, there was a point where I put out a blanket. And there's a little bit of a yard lawn in front of our camper, and I just put out a blanket. I just laid on the grass. I didn't even change. I just was I pulled up my pant legs and I just laid on the grass.
Oh, yeah, your tan calves are majestic now. They're just
amazing.
Beautiful, yeah.
And so it was just one of those things, just arriving. And so, in my mind, I wanted to be active, but my body was like, no.
Yeah, just chill.
And I know this, that, resting is healing, is necessary as well as activity.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, I was at the level where, I just need to actually rest and recuperate before doing more. How about you?
Ditto.
Ditto?
That's my response. No, I was the same. I had quite a bit more energy than what it sounds like you had, but I didn't have the desire to go mountain biking.
Well, then we learned that a lot of the trails are mainly rock
and gravel. So you go from hardcore rock mountain biking to marble mountain biking down mountains. And it's okay, but I don't know.
There were other things to do that we were interested in.
I was very chillin'.
Yeah.
Well, and then my brother and his family showed up out here. We planned vacations at the same time, but didn't know it. We knew each other was coming before we came out here, but we didn't plan anything really together. We just kind of ran into each other and said, "Hey, I'm going to be at this place and I want to hang out." And so we got to see his wife and kids and him, and then we hung out with our friends who have the coffee shop out here, Bob and Linnea.
Yep. Check out Ruby's Roost.
Ruby's Roost, coffee and bakery.
Yes.
Yeah, good organic bakery stuff, and they use organic products in their coffee and
amazing scones and rolls.
Yeah, super scones, caramel rolls. They're super duper caramel rolls.
Maybe you should share your recipe for your caramel roll French toast.
Right now.
Might as well.
Okay, well, you get to Ruby's Roost and you get yourself some.
I get there early because
they sell out.
Sell out.
They only make enough for the day, and they're only open until noon. And so you get there and you pick out a couple of good caramel rolls, just ooey gooey chewy caramel rolls, and then you take them home. Get two if it's just for you and your wifey. Get two, and then what you do is you cut the tops off. So you cut them in half, top and bottom, and then you dip them in. You scramble up some eggs in a pan, in a bowl or a flat pan, and then you dip them in the egg, and then you make caramel roll French toast.
It is.
Bam.
For
It's to live for.
Even if you're gluten-free, you might just want to take a bite.
Yeah, just one bite.
Yeah. And get ready to go mountain biking or something afterwards. You will have a sugar high, especially with maple syrup.
Maple syrup, butter. Make sure you get plenty of butter because you need the fat with the sugar, and you got to balance that stuff out. So I would melt butter, and then I would just pour the butter on there.
Pour it.
Yeah, let it soak up, sop up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then maybe some peanut butter. Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, crunchy peanut butter. You could even melt some chocolate into it if you want. That'd be great.
Wow. Yeah. All right, so.
Good thing we ate already.
Yeah, no kidding. Is it Ruby's Roost? Get your rolls. They have regular cinnamon rolls too. That would work amazingly
Yep.
for.
They have frosted cinnamon rolls.
So we didn't bike, which was like one of the main things we thought we were going to do. But apparently we have better trails, even by our friend Bob, who's an avid
mountain biker. Well, he raced while we were out here.
Yeah. Says he misses the trails out in Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota's great for mountain biking. Well, I even bought myself a new mountain bike for my birthday this year.
Yeah.
And I didn't put more than a few miles on it out here.
But I think we just settled into that's okay, right?
Yeah.
I think at a certain point we're like, there's so many other things to do here that we can't do at home.
Yeah.
The side-by-side was awesome.
Hold on. What kind of mountain bike did I get, Tara? Oh, thank you, Tara. Yeah, I got a Specialized S-Works carbon fiber Turbo Levo, 38 millimeter shocks all around, 4-piston caliper brakes. Woo! Yeah.
Well, you needed something really special.
Well, I roll in at about 225, 230,
I was
so.
just going to say, to be able to manage all your hulkiness.
Yeah.
Hulkiness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Muscle weighs a lot.
It does.
Bones of steel.
And my Specialized has been working awesome. Yours has twice the motor, but I'm half your weight, or almost half your weight.
Right?
So
it balances out.
It's like the same power differential
ratio. Yeah. Well, you have last year's model, last year's Turbo Levo SL or SP special. SL SP. It's the comp. Yeah, it's an SL comp. That's a spectacular bike. I have one of those too that I'm selling.
It's a terrific bike. The frame fits me better than the previous one. I can sit in it and sit a little bit lower.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a terrific bike. So we didn't end up biking, but we can definitely do that at home.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, even though we didn't talk about it, I think that's probably where we both ended up in our minds. Like, let's just settle with doing the stuff that we can do here. And actually, we weren't that active. I mean, even with the side-by-side, you're getting exercise just because you're jostling around, but really we didn't actually move around a lot, which it took me a while, but I kind of just settled in on thinking, okay, that's all right. You know, I will get back to my usual routine, a good routine at home, and just enjoy this time away and not be like being like I am at home, thinking I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Just do what you want to do when you're here.
It's okay. Well, even at home, it's good to do. You know, I grabbed some when we were out at the campsite. I grabbed some sticks, did some collie, did some footwork, some stick work out back. You know, just moved around. You know, you can do what you want. You know, you don't have to be such. A person doesn't have to be a fanatic about everything that they're doing. You know, there's so much fanaticism nowadays. You know, you're either don't work out or you got to work out like a monster. You know, and it's like.
Or what's your diet also?
There's a balance to be had in everything. That's what Marital Arts Podcast is about. It's about balance. We have multiple businesses. We've been married for 21 years in November. And, you know, we have a marriage, we have a life, we have family we have to deal with. And we want to deal with. We want to be around. We have friends. Not too many, but we do have friends. You know, we've got Facebook friends, a lot of Facebook friends.
So we didn't bike ride much, but we did the side-by-side. So that goes into my first question, I believe. What would you come back and do or see again? So I'd say definitely the side-by-side is something you can see so many, you know, instead of just being like on the bypass tours, you know, and seeing the hills, you're in them.
Okay, so Spearfish, South Dakota. What would we do there again? And then around the surrounding area, there's Rapid City, there's Lead, there's Deadwood, which is Sturgis. Both Sturgis and Deadwood are great places to go. Deadwood is very historical. The entire town is a historical landmark. It's where Bill Hickok, the person that killed him, was found, was arrested. You know, the last brothel in Deadwood was closed down in 1980, which I don't know why. I mean, there's brothels in Vegas, you know, but maybe that's, I don't know why it's different. But anyway, or in Nevada, that's a brothel is where they make soup.
Yeah,
they
got. What I've heard.
House Bunny.
House Bunny. So,
the movie. Where, and what would I do? I would.
What would you do again? What would you see again?
I would probably camp again with our camper. I would.
Our site was terrific.
Fabulous.
I would definitely reserve that spot again.
Yeah.
So Hip Camp, we used Hip Camp, and this
hipcamp.com.
Crow's Peak something.
The last location on Crow's Peak, or Crow's Peak Road, I think it was called.
Okay.
Your last destination.
Oh, your last destination.
Yeah.
And it's in Spearfish.
Yeah.
And a really great location, just a few minutes away from downtown Spearfish.
Yeah.
And not too far from the highway, but far enough away that you're not in 5G land.
You don't hear any highway.
You don't hear the highway.
Yeah.
We got lots of birds.
We got 4G LTE, but not 5G, which was fine.
And that was helpful. Like, I tried not to do any work in the camper, just to kind of create a sacred space of non-work, but I had to, on occasion, just do a few things quick rather than running to town. So it was nice that the LTE was there, and we could use our phones as a hotspot. And it was fortunate, too, that you were able to upgrade our AT&T plan for our hotspot, because you had run out.
I ran out of hotspot data.
Which we've learned probably every 6 months we need to go into a store and check on our plans.
A person should, maybe even every 3 months, call their provider and say, what new deals are available for me?
Yeah.
Because, we knocked about, I don't know, 25, 35 bucks a month off of our bill, and we got double the hotspot data.
We got double unlimited plan, so that's like at least infinity.
Double unlimited is at least 60 gigs.
Yes.
It's actually called Ultimate Elite.
Yes.
Or Unlimited Elite. So we had an unlimited plan, which off the top of your head, you'd think unlimited means unlimited, right? No. Unlimited means 15 gigs.
Yep.
And I burnt through it. And so then I said, well, do you have anything more? Do you have a real unlimited? I mean, I pay $500 a month for unlimited data, and they're like, well, we have ultimate or unlimited elite. And I'm like, what is that? He's like, 30 gigs. I'm like, why don't you just call it 30 gigs? Unlimited elite, that's, that's like saying the Ultimate Fighting Championship is Ultimate Fighting. It's not, because there's rules, and there's a referee, and there's a padded floor, and there's a cage, and nobody's buddy is stomping your head while you fall on the ground. It's like, it's
and
not.
And no one's girlfriend is yelling and to egg it on.
Hey, and no one's girlfriend is handing her boyfriend a piece out of her purse. It's not ultimate. It's not.
Actually, the girlfriend probably is on the side of the ring.
Oh, she's screaming. Yeah. You can hear some of them sometimes.
Yeah. So what would we do again? Okay, let's go back to the camping
site. Let's go glamping again.
So that site.
I would camp there again for sure.
Great facility, the water, sewer, electric hookup. They met us when we got there. Didn't see anyone. I mean, there was another camper further up.
Yeah.
And they do have a spot for another camper right there.
Right next to us, but nobody took it. I'd buy both sites next time so that we're there by ourselves.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
We were there by ourselves the whole time this time, but.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was really great. And there were a couple people in and out, at least 3 families come in and out while we were there.
Yeah.
It's like they were on their way through or something.
Yeah, just camping for a night.
Yeah.
That's a great way to do it.
Oh, it was just beautiful.
Don't have to get into the KOA. Nothing against KOA, but I stopped down there to see if I could get on their Wi-Fi plan, and the place smelled like sewage. Yeah. It was not good.
Yeah.
Because there's so many. I mean, it's like, 60, 70 campers in that one spot at least, and everybody's dumping. At least that's what I heard.
Yeah. So again, Spearfish, the Redwater Diner was good.
Yep.
That was really the only place we went into town except for the
Green Bean
coffee. They had nice breakfast.
We went to Blackbird Coffee once,
which is a sister
location of Green Bean. Yep. Yeah.
So, like for breakfast burrito, little lunchy kind of thing, the Green Bean, which is it's hard to see them, and we were just commenting about this again. Clearly, so it's an old home that they converted into a coffee shop, pretty typical, and it's surrounded by vegetation. It's on a corner lot, but you can hardly see the building or the sign, and so just know that they do have a drive-through, and I can see why they keep the vegetation so lush, because it provides a nice sitting area outside.
Right.
But
their sign
see the sign.
Yeah.
So just know that.
We wouldn't have known about it unless Bob and Linnea told us about it, or unless we looked up coffee shops.
Actually, we drove by.
We drove by them.
I'm a sign reader.
Sign reader.
So.
You're a plaque reader.
A plaque reader, and I'm like, Coffee Bean, wow. And you're like, well, let's check it out.
Well, you are the Wifelopedia.
I try. So that's a great place. They do have evening entertainment on Friday nights, which we didn't go the first Friday night, but we went last night, and it was really nice, actually. I'm not typically into like street party kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They had a great band that played quite a variety of music, and there were people dancing. Most people were sitting in their lawn chairs listening. breweries were serving, and I think the wine shops were serving. It was just a nice kind of community gathering. They had some games there.
Yeah, they were playing that beanbag toss game where you try and get it in the angled piece of wood. There's a hole in the, I don't even know what it's called.
It's beanbag toss.
Oh,
yeah.
Beanbag toss in the angled hole.
And there was like a mellow string tennis kind of thing.
Yeah, people were throwing frisbees. They do it every Friday. It's like a community thing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing for a community.
It's great.
Have that kind of stuff.
It sounds like it's because it's a tourist area that they do a little more activities, but it just seems like a great community thing. Let's see. So what else in the area? Deadwood. We happened upon going and Wild Bill Days.
Wild Bill Hickok. They were doing a reenactment.
Reenactments. They had a dog show, a dog jump fetching show into a big pool of water in the middle of the street. That was kind of wild.
It was the water long jump.
Water long jump.
Yeah.
And so they had different dogs and it seemed like they had competed or.
Yeah. They have competitive long jumping into water.
So we caught just the last few minutes of that. I kind of wish we had arrived earlier. But that, I would say, like with a family in particular, going earlier in the day, we happened to arrive earlier in the day. You had suggested it was one of the days we were still unwinding. And you're like, hey, let's just go to Sturgis and Deadwood. And it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
And we got there maybe like 11:30 or something. And so it wasn't too full and rowdy yet, because apparently Brian and Don, our brother and sister-in-law, went there like later in the day, and it was apparently really crowded, a lot of people drinking and smoking, and so, but earlier in the day it was fine. I thought it was really neat. So you got me a couple really beautiful rings made by people of the Zuni tribe. Got a neat little gift shop there.
Yep. And earrings.
Oh yeah, I got the
turquoise.
Turquoise, thank you. Little earrings. And so nice memorabilia.
Nice memorabilia. They could be heirloom rings.
They could be actually.
Yeah. Really nice.
And yeah, it's just kind of neat to even walk around and see things, old buildings, plaques, which I would like to read still. Interesting history.
Lots of plaques.
You found a great pub. There's a restaurant pub and a grocer and a bakery, all in one, like Jacob's Brew House, I think.
Yep, shout out to Jacob's Brew House.
You had an amazing burger there one day.
He's got the hauler.
Wow, look at that.
Big bus.
Like a literal bus.
Bus camper.
Yep, maybe cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had you said amazing, even content with your bison burger.
Yeah, the first one I had there was phenomenal. The second one was
Well, we went back a couple days later because you're like, this was so good.
We gotta go get one.
Yeah, and then they had a different cook or something, but it was a typical bison burger, which is saying typical.
Yeah, very typical.
So, let's see.
The beer was great. I had a pile of dirt.
That's so hilarious. The names that they have really.
Well, there's so many like craft beers now. I mean, what do you name them?
Yeah. Yeah. So what, is it very earthy? Was it earthy, John?
No, it was just a dark beer. It's kind of chocolatey. Ooh, their camper is not hooked up correctly. It's leaning down in the front, and that's a problem with the dual axle. That's why it started wavering. Oh, and they're driving a Honda. Is that a Honda truck?
No, it's a Tundra.
Oh, it's a Toyota.
Oh, they've got the leveler on.
Yeah, they don't have it set up right though. They need a higher hitch.
A higher hitch, not just the leveler?
Not just the leveler, yeah.
Boy, you could do a little class on this because it seems like there are a number of things, right? It's hitch height, do you need a stabilizer?
Well, it's all over YouTube. Anybody can learn very easily.
Okay. I guess.
You have to look at it on, so we'll do a little lesson. So you have to hook up your vehicle. And our vehicle, we were deciding whether to put airbags in the back, so air shocks, or put a leveler on, which is it's a leverage mechanism which has two steel bars that hook up to the vehicle, and then they stress lift on the hitch. When you hook up your trailer, you got to hook these bars up on the A-frame of the hitch for the trailer, and then they level things out by putting stress on the front end of the vehicle. So it lifts the middle up, and then so the front end of the vehicle is carrying weight also, not just pushing down on the rear end. And so we decided to go with the lever method because it was cheaper, it was quicker. From here forward, we might want to think about putting some airbags in the back, but either way, you have to park your vehicle on flat ground with the trailer. Then you have to look at the levelness of the trailer and the vehicle together. And it's very windy right now. That's why you feel us kind of moving a little bit.
Yeah.
But
in the high plains.
Yeah, it's the high plains of South Dakota. But yeah, if you've got a tandem axle trailer, it's muy importante that you are level, because you're either riding on that rear axle or that front axle. And the other one, as soon as you start moving like this, the other one's going to get squirrely because it's not carrying hardly any weight. And so it makes you kind of do that jackknifing look like that last vehicle was doing.
It's kind of wiggly.
Yeah.
Wiggly, wormy.
And they probably have too much weight in the front of their camper. They could put more weight in the rear of it.
Yeah.
They probably have too much in the back of their truck. They could put more in the camper. Yeah, if you look
they have the Tundra, so it's the same engine as in this.
Potentially. I'm sure there's multiple engines for Tundras. It's not just one.
I thought they were
Yeah,
the same.
they could have the V6 turbo or whatever. There's lots of.
But that camper is bigger than ours.
Yeah. Well, people get what they can afford, right? It's not just what they want. So.
Okay, so back to what we do again. Sturgis, I think the coffee company, the coffee shop was really good.
The Sturgis Coffee Company.
Yep, I think that was great.
Yep, you got a sweater from there.
Yep.
Zip up sweatshirt.
Nice and soft and cozy.
A hoodie.
Which I'm not usually like a getting the gear or swag kind of person.
Yeah.
Well, you encouraged me, first of all. It was a little chilly, so that
Well, I
helped.
said I was going to buy it for you either way.
Yeah. But it ended up being handy for sure.
Yeah.
And cozy, which is nice. But they do very good coffees there.
Yep.
And no matter what, you might think in Sturgis that they just serve up black coffee, or black coffee with whiskey or something. But they actually do nice mochas, and I tried a dirty chai, which is the first time I had that. It was very good.
Yeah.
My sister-in-law said it reminds her of a molasses cookie, and that sold me. And it was kind of like that in a way, like a stronger, richer chai. And yeah, so, and then that's where we rented the side-by-side, the Indian motorcycle. They sell
Dealership.
and rent, or they at least rent motorcycles
Yep.
and side-by-sides. I don't know if they sell.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
I don't see why not.
Right.
And super easy to rent. Although if you're going at a busy time, I would definitely rent them ahead of time.
Yeah.
We were fortunately ready to do stuff like on Monday.
Yeah.
Or I think we rented it on. We put the rental money
For
down
Tuesday.
on. Yeah,
For
but it was a
Tuesday.
Sunday. But I think
Yeah.
we were finally going. I think we can do something by now.
Yeah.
And so midweek, it was really easy to rent. I don't know, like over 4th of July weekend, which is coming up too. You might want to like
Reserve.
something.
Yeah.
But
We rented the Polaris General XR
XP
1000.
There we go.
XP 1000.
We did get a trailer one day because you had looked at the trails and thought
We wanted to go farther.
This certain area looked good. What was that area? It was by Lead, and there was a
Cheyenne Crossing.
There was a really great looking lodge area. So like if you wanted a single destination, that looked really nice, like a nice lodge.
Yeah.
There's a facility where you could rent slingshots. So they're like a tiny 3-wheel car, but sporty. 2 wheels in the front, 1 in the back. You could rent side-by-sides. You could do a number of things there, and it was just a beautiful place in among the hills. And that would be a great, like I was saying, a single destination. If you're not, I think they have campsites. Oh yeah, they did have campsites there too.
Yeah.
But if you prefer like a lodge kind of setting, I would check that out. It looked pretty nice. But fortunately, in the way, the trails that we thought that were going to be really awesome, we ended up driving around for like an extra hour and a half, 2 hours. We got to see more of the countryside, the hillside, where it was like, it's very remote. There's no cell signal. So we got to see places that we wouldn't have seen otherwise if we hadn't been looking.
Yeah.
But we ended up driving around, trailering the side-by-side. But I think it was better because it was so dusty.
Yeah.
It would have been miserable.
In that area, it was pretty bad.
It was so dusty on the roads. And so they were neat country back roads. But even like in our search to find these mystery trails or whatever, in hindsight, at first I was kind of miffed. And this is how I could gauge how well I was letting go, is how often I would get miffed. And so like the first couple of days, I was getting miffed a lot. And especially when I took the wrong way on the highway coming out of Sturgis, when we rented the side-by-side.
We rented the side-by-side. We went to the dealership. You dropped me off. After I got the side-by-side all up and going, you took off to go do some stuff, and I took off to go do some stuff. I was going to Deadwood to go take one of my nephews out for a ride.
Yep.
And you called me, but I missed your call because I was open riding in the side-by-side. And you, then I finally got a hold of you, like, I went the wrong way, you said. So you drove a half hour the wrong way.
Oh, at least a half hour. I went to
Rapid City.
Because I just typed into my search, my maps.
That's so funny.
Co-op, food co-op, and they're like, "Do you want this food co-op?" And I didn't know the name of the co-op, and so I was like, "Yes." And my GPS was still calculating that I was, I don't know, in a different area or something, and so I just followed my GPS. Now, usually, I'm actually really good with directions, right, John? I'm very good.
Everybody has their good and bad times.
And I think I had like a transition period where I'm like going from normal workaday stuff to vacation mode.
Yeah.
And my brain was starting to check out. And then by the time I realize I'm going the wrong way, it's like the point of no return. It's like I might as well just go to that co-op or whatever.
Right.
And then I had to literally talk myself down and be like, Tara, and I do talk to myself like that.
Yeah.
You know, this is probably happening for a reason. You just need to chill out, just enjoy the ride, literally. And so I think I already told that story, so I won't go too far into that. But it was literally like, I could tell I was on vacation when I started not being able to make decisions. Like, we'd go to the coffee shop and like, I don't know what I'm going to get. And
what did you get? The same thing you always get.
No, I got something new. I tried.
You got the Earl Grey something or another.
I tried a London fog with oat milk, which was very good.
Yeah.
So that's something I wouldn't do again. Take the wrong way, but it happens. Just like, I wouldn't do it on purpose, but I would know in the future that it's meant to be. So there wasn't a whole lot in Sturgis. We didn't look too hard, but that was about it. So doing again, I think our full day out to Mount Rushmore and the surrounding areas was awesome.
So that was the next day. brought back the side-by-side early. We had it for 3 days. Brought it back on Wednesday. And then we went to Mount Rushmore the next day.
Yep.
Thursday.
On Thursday. And it was kind of questionable weathers, but the weather worked out just right for us. It was like 50% chance of rain, so forth. And we left rather early. I mean, it still took us a while. Like I think we were out by 7:30, but then stopping at the coffee shop, picking up something. Maybe we had breakfast at our place. I don't remember. But
well, we always grab a little snack at the camper.
Yeah. Drove through Rapid City, although our friend said it takes a little bit longer route from Spearfish, apparently through Deadwood. It's more of a scenic route.
Yeah.
But of course, going on the highways to Rapid City and down is faster. But Mount Rushmore, I could do that again, and if we had just take more time to read about it, I probably could find most, if not all, the stuff online. But it's nice for me, I like being there and reading about it, because then it doesn't feel like homework. If you go home and you read about it, it's like I'm doing homework. It's like I like taking the time while I'm there. Maybe on a rainy day. Where did we go after that? After that, we went to Custer State Park. Absolutely do that as well. I do that again. That drive, especially that drive out of Mount Rushmore into the state park, where you do those
really windy roads.
Yeah, and up onto the bridge.
I had corkscrew roads that would wrap up and around on a bridge over the road.
That was so cool.
Yeah, that was really great.
I mean, the scenery is amazing around here, but it was exceptional around there, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the wildlife drive.
Not much wildlife, but we saw 4 pronghorns, and then we saw
A bison.
We saw
donkeys.
We saw a group of bison up on the hill. We saw the herd, but they were walking away over the crest of a hill. And then we saw the bull, the big guy, all by himself. And then we went and we saw the burros, or the burritos, the donkeys out in the field, and they had babies, and they're very used to people. They're wild, but they're very used to people, so you got to pet them. And
so if you go, bring carrots, though.
Carrots, yeah.
They love them, and I mean, they'll let you pet them anyways, but if you have treats, it's always nice.
Yes.
That was pretty special. I'm glad we stopped for that. We had to walk a ways out.
About 150 yards, no big deal.
And that was just pretty special.
Got us out.
Super cute.
Got us out of the vehicle too.
Yeah, we got some exercise. But a lady was really nice. She gave us a carrot to break apart into a few pieces and to be able to feed them. So that was very nice of her.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That I could or could not do again. Like
that drive.
The
Mount Rushmore drive.
Well, I really liked the area, just driving out of Mount Rushmore and those twisties. The nature park, I could or could not. So if we were coming back, let's say in the next year, I could do without going to the wildlife park again.
Yeah.
But I would go right away to Hot Springs, which was one of our last stops. I would do that right away. And they have an amazing spa there. And Moccasin something.
It's Moccasin Hot Spring Spa.
And I would do that right away in my unwinding phase. Book a massage.
They had a great restaurant we couldn't get reservations for.
And make the reservations for the restaurant.
And we don't know if it's great, but supposedly it was great.
It looks really great.
Yeah.
At least they do a good job with
the website.
Making it seem like that. Well, it is attached to a beautiful spa.
Yeah.
You're in a little town.
Oh, we did go to a restaurant that had a fabulous website, and we walked out.
We rarely walk out, but it was like, this is going south.
We didn't even order anything. The menus were on a single page. They were printed off center. The descriptions of the food were not very good. Their wine list was Malbec, Merlot, Chardonnay, Moscato. And so I asked the gal, I said, she was young. I asked her, I said, do you have a wine list? She goes, oh yeah, it's on the back. And I'm like, well, these are just descriptions of types of wine.
It did also say, ask your server for more options or for the full menu.
Yep. And then the bartender came out, and I said, do you have a wine list? And she said, nope. She goes, what are you looking for?
And our waitress was very young, but also not on par for what the website portrayed. It was a white linen.
It was a very nice restaurant in an old hotel, and it was white linen dining,
but nothing else matched.
Nothing matched. Nothing.
Was on par with the website. Beautiful website. White
I was afraid of the food that would have came out.
Yeah, and usually you're the one that says, let's get out of here, and I was like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
So, that was the bistro something. So,
no, we don't need to say the name.
I don't remember the whole thing, but
people could figure out their own stuff. I mean, if we went somewhere and we got food poisoning, then I would say something. But they just had bad presentation other than their website and their building.
So then we went to, you made a reservation for somewhere in Rapid City.
Yeah.
And that was going to be a little while, so we decided to stop at the Mammoth dig site, which apparently is the largest active dig site, maybe like North America or something like that.
Yeah.
There's
woolly mammoth bones and tusks, and they're not petrified. They're still decaying.
Yeah. So pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And would they surmise it was a spring or something that they had fallen
a sinkhole, they said. They were calling it a sinkhole. And I don't know. To me, it looked like a flood had carried all these mammoths into this area. I don't know how all the mammoths would fall into the same hole.
Yeah.
Unless they were really dumb.
Yeah. So, pretty amazing. Great thing to see with kids.
And then we went to the restaurant right next to it.
Yeah, you're like, this looks amazing.
It was called Woolies. Like woolly mammoth.
It was pretty busy.
Very busy.
Especially for, what was it, Thursday?
Very Golden Corral style restaurant.
Yeah.
Buffet kind of situation. They brought us out. We got, what was it?
Well, you kind of splurged a bit.
What do you mean I splurged?
Well, occasionally you'll try places onion rings. And
oh no, I was going to talk about the steak.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah. I forget the cut. The steak.
It's a sirloin.
Oh yeah. And they cooked it like so raw in the middle. It didn't cook. I was like, hey.
It was well done on the outer 1/8 inch.
Yeah, their grill was way too hot.
And then it was raw on the inside.
Yeah.
Bison, it's really particular. A person really needs to know how to cook it. And
yeah.
We commented, but we probably should have said more like we eat bison and cook it all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was okay.
Yeah.
Maybe for most people's standards, it would be good.
I don't know about that.
So, and then we came back. So that, I would say, definitely the hot springs I do again. Mammoth is, a good one-time in a lifetime neat thing.
The woolly mammoth site?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was worth seeing.
Yeah.
So then that was yesterday.
The day before.
Was it the day before?
Yep. It seemed like yesterday because I worked all day yesterday.
It's because we came late, yeah. Yeah, and then yesterday was Friday, and you had a class, and organization stuff to do, and I had some quotes to do, so we sat at a coffee shop from
9:30 to 3:30.
9:30 to 3:30.
Yep.
And yeah, it was real good. I got some quotes done, and man, the amazing things you can do, just what we're doing right now, recording this right now while we're driving, and what you can do with a laptop nowadays. Holy cow. The amount of power in those things. You're editing video, and I'm using a CAD program and quoting, and I was listening to podcasts on my phone while I was quoting, and
Yeah.
uploading, downloading files, and sending out emails, and it's amazing.
Well, and a few other, we covered most of the questions that I thought of for, we thought of for a kind of a trip summary. Maybe our next trip we'll kind of do a pre-planning summary, because there's things like what to pack, what not to pack. I mean, none of my biking stuff, I didn't use any of that.
Yeah, but we didn't know if we were gonna or not.
Right. And we talked about, it was our first time out in the camper, how did we like it over just a simple Airbnb, which has been pretty good for us. We've had a few sketchy experiences, but generally has been good.
Yeah.
Or very good. And I think we both agree that with a camper, at least just knowing that it's yours, and it's your space, whether like someone biking on the side of the highway.
On the interstate. Yeah, they're going cross country with all that gear.
Wow. And I think we both agree, just even knowing it's like your space. We know we had the kitchen equipment that we wanted, and we had like the pans that we had.
Yeah.
It's our bed and our pillows and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's kind of like.
It's a really great part about having your own camper. Yeah. And our own spot. We had a few windy nights. There were a few stormy, windy nights, which weren't too scary, but we were both on alert a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah, especially in a new area.
Yeah.
How do the storms behave, kind of thing.
So I guess we didn't say, traditionally our podcast is kind of a coffee cast.
Typically.
But we're drinking iced mocha from the Green Bean, which was probably the best coffee in the town.
Yeah.
Until
Ruby's
Roost
is
opens.
Open.
Woo!
Yep. It'll be
Yeah.
open in a month or so. So we know about their stuff because they had a location where we live back home.
You know what we should do? We should throw the bikes on and go out for their opening.
Yeah.
And then go for a ride. Go do a couple of smaller trails.
In our area? Or
Out at Ruby's
here?
Roost. Out Spearfish. Just shoot out, without the camper. Just for a couple of days. Get a local Airbnb or something.
Yeah. Well, that's part of this trip. On our way home, we're going to plan our next trip.
We're on our way home right now.
Yep. So.
Is there any ideas that you'd like to share?
I've thought about, been thinking about, we have a couple.
I'm wondering if it's uphill all the way home too.
Oh gosh, seems like it already.
Yeah. We're cranking out the R's, running about 3,500 RPM going up these hills.
Well, being at Mount Rushmore, and there are a couple of kids' books there that had activities and pointed out the national parks and stuff, and that in general would be neat. Really old farm. I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah.
Really disheveled farmstead. Just even hitting the national parks could be a goal.
Yeah.
Also, I have a couple of business associates in Oregon. Oregon? I think that's how they say Oregon.
Oregon.
That sounds like a fascinating area.
I don't want to go to Portland.
No, I don't want to go to Portland either. But
They can meet us outside of Portland.
right. Well, just that, sounds like there's some really amazing places in the forest.
Just for future reference, it's 2021.
Yeah.
June in 2021. You don't want to go to Portland.
So on the national park scale, Yellowstone, showing up because it's just a little further west. Figure down.
No, it's naturally doing that because of the hill. Yeah, now I'll just keep it up there till we get up here.
So, are there any places that you've thought of?
Well, I always like Colorado. We could go to Colorado and get some decent mountain biking if we want to do that. I'm gonna let this rev down a bit here. This is a big hill.
Yeah, definitely.
Steep shucker.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we slowed down to 65 on this hill. The wind's blowing against us too.
Oh.
We're going into the wind. Yeah. Colorado, I could go for. Northern California, I could go for.
How about places we haven't been to?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking in my head. Maybe some places, and a couple places in Wyoming. We could go to Texas.
Is it? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we've been to Texas, but we could hit a few places we haven't been in Texas.
Yeah, there is that. So, Texas, we had driven the full 18 hours. I think it's a longer trip like that.
Are you thinking about flying?
No, but I think, I've talked about where could we live someday that has warmer weather year round, because, like here, or in Spearfish, for some of the days it would get really warm during the day if we would just go out early. And you do your outside activities early, and I don't mind that. It's actually a good kind of get up and out of bed and get your day going, and so I know it's like Florida and Texas are really and South Dakota are really popular to move to. We're not like in a mode to move right away or anything, but just kind of scoping out maybe someday where we'd like to be.
Yep.
And Austin area is an area that looks appealing. It is more lush than other areas of Texas.
Yeah.
Like what we're accustomed to. It's more humid, and so if your parents are with us, it's not something that they really like, but they're not really outside a lot anyways.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, if you're pulling a camper, you can't have enough engine.
You can't have too much, you mean?
No, you can't have enough.
So I guess that supports going to Texas. We need to check out that there's apparently mountain biking, good hills, and I would suspect it's more like what we have at home.
Minnesota.
More dirt bike, and we've seen videos too of some of those parks.
Yeah.
If we went out to Oregon, I don't know I think there was a northern route, and so we could end up going through Wyoming. And if we that would be a longer trip though.
Yeah.
I think where you'd kind of spend a few days and a few stops along the way, so that would. It just depends on how long we want to or can take.
Yeah.
And maybe the trip out west to Oregon would be a good summer trip, and Texas maybe more fall or later in the year.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I think we're going to have to look at our schedules
Yeah.
too, right?
We'll probably have to stop this podcast too, because it's kind of getting a little wandering and winding, and might not be so exciting anymore.
Yeah. So we'll let you know where our next stop is going to be.
Or maybe not.
Our trip.
Or maybe not.
Or you'll just find out when we're there.
Maybe we won't tell anybody what we're doing.
Until we're there.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.